From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. This week we'll be talking about an active start to the week, lots of jet stream flow blasting across the Pacific from the Gulf of Alaska into the Prairie, supporting precipitation across the region. It'll be wetter in the east, drier in the west. That's a typo up here. Let's go ahead and just say west. Wetter east, drier west over the next 7 days or so, really the next 3 or 4, because beyond that, we get a pattern change across North America. It's going to be quieter locally from kind of late this week through much of next week with this pattern here that starts to build a ridge to the west. Instead of having that trough with, flow feeding into the region, we'll be doing some ridging with northwest flow, which is not quite ready to support those thunderstorms across the region. Now, the last 7 days, this is through June 1st, so not counting everything that fell during the day on Sunday. As expected, much of the heavier precipitation over the last 7 days or so, falling very close to the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border. A couple pockets of some heavier precipitation, anywhere from 10 to 30 millimeters of precipitation, kind of close to the Alberta and Saskatchewan borders as well, and southwestern and southeastern portions of those provinces. Now, as we take a look at the satellite picture, infrared satellite picture, you can see the very fast motion here, that fast jet stream flow. It's feeding an area of low pressure kind of centered right about here. That's going to spin down across the prairie over the next 3 to 4 days. That's what's going to keep that precipitation in the forecast. Will also keep it kind of heaviest across a corridor like this. Now, as we look at things on Monday morning, again, most of the shower activity spreading across portions of Alberta, scattered, generally light in nature. A couple thunderstorms just south of Winnipeg with a more organized storm system right here with a little more instability to work with. But we'll continue to see this jet stream flow pumping into the region. Widespread rain across the area over the next couple of days. Temperatures getting started here this week, anywhere from 10 to 12 degrees across much of the prairie. A couple pockets here were a little bit cooler associated with some of that rain falling here this morning. Now, broadly looking at the next 7 days, you can kind of see the pattern here. A bit drier across Alberta into southern Saskatchewan. A little bit wetter here across portions of southern Manitoba into central and northern portions of Saskatchewan. That is because of this trough right here. Again, you see the shading. The upper level low here, the blue, ridging across the Pacific. The tighter the packed these lines here, the stronger the jet stream flow. So the flow across the Pacific just screaming in, kind of rounds the bend here around the base of this trough, and then we see that jet stream wind kind of speeding up, fanning out across the prairie. That's what gives us a lot of upward vertical motion in the upper level support for precipitation across the region. So we are kind of ground zero right now for this jet stream support. As we hit play on this, though, you see it evolves. This is not the pattern that we have. Really, we see things kind of flipping as we head into late week, into much of next week, and that's what we've talked about here, this pattern change that's going to be coming across North America. So the next couple of days, you see this area of low pressure kind of breaking off across the prairie, and it spins down as we head into the later part of the week. You see another little piece of this kind of breaking off into the Great Lakes. So the trough, instead of being really organized right here, kind of breaks off late week into a multi-piece trough across, from the Pacific into the Great Lakes. This is when we start to kind of lose that support for precipitation across the region. By the time we get into the weekend, we've got a ridge here across British Columbia and Alberta, troughing to the east. So this sets us up with northwest flow in the jet stream across the prairie. And at times, this can give us thunderstorm activity. We're not quite there yet, though. This is really just going to bring a quiet down in the pattern. Now, I'll take this a little bit longer. We'll go into, this is now June 9th. This will be Sunday of the coming weekend, June 10th. 11th, 12th, broadly still seeing ridging across the region. So this would still keep us pretty quiet heading into the middle part of next week. Then as we get into mid-month, June 16th, 17th, and 18th, we're starting to see some troughing redevelop across western North America. This would then maybe open this region back up to shower and thunderstorm activity. We'll have to wait, though, till we get, probably a week down the road to start get some higher confidence. This is 2 weeks down there. We're talking about the pattern as we get to June 17th. So June 10th, we're probably talking about a quiet pattern overhead, but then maybe starting to talk about when we flip the switch back to an active pattern across the prairie. Now, just looking at the high-resolution NAM model, this shows us the next couple of days, that shower and thunderstorm activity moving across the region. Let me go ahead and play this one more time for you, just slowing it down. Here's your Monday morning. This is your Monday afternoon. This is now Monday night. Shower and thunderstorm activity kind of pushing into parts of southeastern Saskatchewan into maybe southern Manitoba. This is where we could maybe have a strong thunderstorm, maybe producing some hail late this evening into the early overnight, again across southeastern Saskatchewan, maybe far southwestern portions of Manitoba. Maybe looking for a stronger storm. As you head your way back to the west, this is going to be lighter rain activity, not much in the way of thunderstorms there. Now let's take it a little bit further. This is Tuesday night. Thunderstorm activity moving across southern Manitoba. Winnipeg may be waking up to a thunderstorm on Tuesday morning. Midday Tuesday, here's your area of low pressure. You can kind of see the comma shape here, right there. So you've got your cold front extending this direction. You've got kind of precipitation just wrapping around the backside of the low here as we head through Tuesday. Again, this would be kind of lighter shower activity. Down here is where you could see some of that heavier thunderstorm activity pushing through southeastern Manitoba into southwestern Ontario as we get into Tuesday evening. Again, maybe the chance for a strong thunderstorm or two right across this corridor from southwestern Ontario into the upper Midwest of the United States on Tuesday evening. Let's take this into Wednesday. By the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, the area of low pressure is really beginning to weaken and decay across the region. So shower activity from northern Alberta into central Saskatchewan into central and southern Manitoba. So by the time we get to midweek, we are drying out here across much of Alberta and southern Saskatchewan, probably a good chunk of southwestern Manitoba as well. But the further east you go and the further north you go, that rain holds on through the day Wednesday. As we get into the later part of the week, this is what our precipitation totals look like. The rain really winds down Wednesday night into Thursday across the region, and then we really quiet down from the weekend into much of next week. So this is what you have probably for the next 10 days or so. Across Alberta, much of southern Saskatchewan, much lighter. We're talking about some rain over the next 24 to 36 hours, probably amounting to a few millimeters, 10 millimeters maybe in some of the higher spots. As you get north of Highway 16, that precipitation lasts longer. You get a little heavier total. So north of Highway 16 across Alberta into Saskatchewan, that's what we're talking about. Rain lingering into Wednesday, stacking up totals anywhere from 20 to 25 millimeters. And then as you get into southern portions of Manitoba, this is where you could see some thunderstorm activity, especially Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That's why we could see some of that heavier precipitation, anywhere from 15 to 25 millimeters across this area. That certainly includes you in Brandon over toward Winnipeg. And then as you get further north, those precipitations totals start to stack up as well. So again, maybe 24 more hours of light rain across this area. As we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, some heavier thunderstorms here. And then north of Highway 16, this is where we talk about rain Monday through Wednesday with those 20 to 35 millimeter totals possible. Now, as we hit play on this, zooming out, looking at the European model, this will show us the next couple of days, that area of low pressure trekking across the region. This is your Monday. This is now Tuesday, June 4th. This is now Wednesday, June 5th. The area of low pressure starts to spin down and weaken, decaying across the area. This is your Thursday. This is Friday. This is when we really start to quiet down and dry out across the prairie. So dry now, Saturday, June 8th, June 7th. You see some very, very light shower activity. I'm not really buying that a whole lot. And then as we get into next week, an area of low pressure potentially scooting just south of the U.S.-Canadian border. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. But by and large, the pattern takes a bit of a pause here as we head into the middle part of the month. Just verbatim, the European model, this is your total precipitation from today through June 8th. So taking us through Monday through Friday here. Again, lighter across much of Alberta and Saskatchewan, anywhere from 5 to 10 millimeters. Maybe some pockets that see higher, maybe some pockets that see lower. And then as you get further to the east, this is where we're talking about heavier precipitation associated with thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday, anywhere from 15 to 30 millimeters of precipitation there. But then we kind of shut it down as we head into the middle part of the month. As we get into mid-month, kind of June 15th through the 22nd, this is when I start to get some question marks across this area as a whole. Do we start to bring troughing back in? How intense is it? Where does it set up? Again, if it's here, the Prairie's in luck. If it's down here, we're talking more about the northern plains. If we somehow get troughing a little further south, perhaps we're talking more about the central U.S. So question marks as we head through the middle and late part of the month of June, but there's still some tea leaves here that point toward an active pattern across the Prairie for much of the summer. So we'll keep an eye on how this evolves. One more way to look at this, your probability of 1 inch or more of total precipitation over the next 10 days. Very low, near zero across this region, and get a little higher than 50% across portions of southern Manitoba. So southern Manitoba, you're the active stormy spot with the chance for some heavier precipitation over the next few days. Alberta, much of southern Saskatchewan, you got some rain in the forecast the next 24 hours. Not a ton to talk about as we head through the rest of the week. Those temperatures will be evolving, a little cooler overall in the east, a little warmer overall in the west, especially as that ridge builds in over the weekend into early next week. Calgary highs around 19 for the next few days. We get into the mid-20s over the weekend with that ridge building in. Edmonton, very similar look, 16 for the high today, 23 by the time we get to Saturday. Saskatoon, you take a little bit of a dip here with that storm system spinning down overhead, 16 for the high on Wednesday, back up to the mid-20s for the weekend. Almost the same thing here in Regina. A little cool down the next few days, warming up as we head into the weekend. And then Manitoba, you feel a little more of the impact of the storm late week. That chance for some thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday. A little cooler for your day Thursday, warming back up as we head into the weekend. Have a great week. I'll talk to you again next Monday, June 10th.